Well, time is 1 minute past 3 p.m. on an interesting Wednesday. And why is it interesting? Well, you will get to see it, witness it, and experience it over the next 60 minutes. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us here for the most awaited, the Economic Times virtual roundtable theme, Amplifying Your Company's Brand with Customer Service. Let me reiterate that word, amplifying your company's brand with customer service. The session is powered by ServiceNow. My name is Badoni, and I'm very happy to be here with ET Edge, welcoming you all for this very interesting connection of amplifying your company's brand with customer service. A company is successful when it has loyal customers, and we all thrive for that. Sometimes we get it, that's most often, and sometimes we wait for it. Now, that keep coming back despite the competing brands trying to lure them. What keeps these customers coming back to these businesses, and how do these brands earn customer loyalty? Big thought. So much around this entire prospect. The customer expectations are at all-time high. And actually, it's always been like this over the last couple of decades. This line is quite popular, that the customer expectations are at all-time high. It is always, and it's always going to be the same. They are only turning to those that can meet all of their needs, listen to the concerns, address them, and give them the best possible outcome. If you're unable to accomplish so, you're already eliminated from the competition. That's right. If you are already thinking to accomplish without doing anything, nada, that wouldn't work for you. When service and experience are what create a brand, the inherent risk for firms today is not fulfilling rising customer expectations. While organizations in the same industry compete, the focus of these enterprises should be on providing the greatest client experience. And that's the only way forward. Although businesses all around the world have already hopped on board, you can't afford to fall behind by failing to fulfill client expectations. This entails minimizing the proximity in your end-to-end client experience using the current technologies like AI or machine learning, being more personalized and being more adaptable. With all of this in place, you can outperform your competition. Well, that's right. Build client loyalty and increase profitability. After all, that is exactly what matters. In today's session, we will touch upon some important points, such as ways to provide innovative technology and services to customers, meeting customer expectations for a frictionless experience, way to reward customers for their loyalty, how to improve operational productivity, empowering customer service team, and technology adaptation versus the personalization. And that is going to be a subject to know about. Joining us is a prestigious panel to take you through the today's session, and we're very happy to welcome our members of the panel. Please welcome COO JSW One Platforms, Mayank Gupta. Joining him is going to be EVP Client Experience, Edelweiss Personal Wealth, and Edelweiss Wealth Management, Loveena Khatwani. Along with the two is joining us Senior Vice President, Customer Service Operations, CSO, Tata Teleservices, Harpreet, Bhinder. Along with the three, we also have Vice President Services Entity Limited, Shailendra Badoni. And joining the four is Pankaj, Bajaj, Solution Sales for Customer Workflows ServiceNow. And to master as the moderator and the mentor to make sure all of your questions and thought come into the means of an answer, we have our moderator, which is no one else but Mr. Anand Ramanathan, partner at Deloitte India. Anand, over to you.
Thank you, Nitin, for having us here, and look forward to this session. I think services is a great opportunity to differentiate the brand, and it's a wonderful way to enhance the customer experience. So what we will do over the next about 50 minutes is to break this session up into four broad areas. We will start with understanding what the business model changes are and therefore implications from a services operating model and how customer experience is being provided using services as a means to provide a better experience. The second part of the discussion will be on technology and how technology is making a difference. We will then have a question on people and mindset and how things are changing in terms of empowering people to go about innovating from a services operating model construct. And finally, we will end with a session on understanding how services can be a big differentiator for enhancing brand experience, right? So this is broadly going to be the structure of the entire discussion today. So with this, I will kick it off with the first set of questions around business model. So maybe I can start with Harpreet. From a Tata Teleservices standpoint, how is the business model changing and what are the implications on the services operating model?
Sure. So, from Tata Teleservices, we are mostly a B2B company. That's the focus area for us. And we are looking at, partnering with customers on the digital journey, right? Though telecom is the base that we sell, but it's also about anything, like Zoom, Outlook, anything else they want that helps them with their business. We will help them with partnerships at times. Base core service being telecom, of course. But what is changing is that, there are a lot of customers out there, some of them who are digital natives, let's say all these startups. Sometimes they know technology better than us. They want something. So the level of engagement there, I need a different profile of people, right? And then there are the ones who want to learn. Those are easier to handle for us. And then, of course, there are those who have to be told about what's happening on the digital world and taken on that journey. So the challenges are for the digital natives. For us to be able to service them, you really need in-house expertise, or you need to get the resources from partners. So that's the key changing mode currently, that, your traditional business of, if you're going to just sell voice and data, you're going to get into a wholesale business, and beyond a point, it's commodity business, right? You are going to survive if you're going to give something extra to the customer, and the extra is how can they leverage this and what are the platforms they can use? Can I give them cloud storage? A large corporation can go and get it, but for a small SME to get it at the right price point, I can help them, right? I can negotiate and I can help them. But then they need somebody to help them integrate also. Can I get a partner to help them integrate their solution with them if they're going to use some cloud space for their servers? So those are the types, and we are doing to be able to. So that's the changing landscape we have. So just to go out there and sell a phone line or a data line, that's not going to work anywhere. So the change is, and that will be, a very small fraction of the business 6, 7, 8 years down the line. So this is the changing business dynamics that we have. If we have to move up the value chain, we'll have to partner with our customers on their digital journey. And in the digital journey, if I just say like the railways in the US said at one day, I'm in the railroad business and not the transport business, the airlines took them over, right? So we have to journey with them and say that we are on a digital journey with them. How do I help them innovate? How do I service them in this field and partner with them? That's the changing landscape.
Thanks, Harpreet. That was very interesting, from digital natives in terms of how consumers are changing to defining the market broadly and not very narrowly, to also understanding what kind of implications there are from selling a solution rather than a product, right? So I thought those were very interesting levers in terms of looking at the business model and adapting to the market. So Shailendra, do you want to go next?
Yes, sure. Thanks, Harpreet, for that view on that. Fundamentally, the one thing which is in the business model is changed, and especially the last couple of years, especially on COVID accelerated, is about that whole business model and operating model. Client is at the center of the strategy. Our entity has a great legacy of 150 years, but we believe that with client at the center, we can promise even a better future, right? And that is mainly because clients are asking for fundamentally the changes from their perspective, or each services, each offering needs to address that particular point. I'll just tell you, for example, that one of the key requirement has come from the clients are about, are your solutions are helping me, one of the requirement I'm saying, are helping me reduce carbon footprint. This is a big issue for that matter, right? And that which are the provide me a sustainable solutions, help meet my business need, but this is the requirement. All of us needs to look what client wants and then make our solutions and offering change our business model, operating model. For example, meeting this requirement of carbon footprint. NTT has come out with saying that we have a large data center. By 2030, let's say we'll have a renewable energy and net carbon input will be zero. So what I'm trying to fundamentally say, the business model which has changed, one of the basic thing and most important thing is that client is at the center of the strategy, and all our operating model needs to address that.
Thanks, Shailendra. Client centricity and its importance and implications on the business model, and also the very important area of sustainability, which is increasingly becoming relevant across sectors and products and clients, right? So thanks for that. Loveena, can we go to you next? Edelweiss, and how are you seeing the business model change, and how is it impacting your services operating model construct?
Completely. Thanks, Anand. Taking the conversation ahead, I think what Shailendra said, where the client is at the center. I think in our business, which is wealth management, we've seen a huge change in the last 2.5 years, mainly being, we had baby boomers and we had Gen X and then we had Gen Y. But today, the last 2 years, I've seen Gen Z enter, sorry. Gen Z is the complete customer who doesn't want to be disturbed. He wants to do everything on his own. His mobile or his laptop needs to give him everything, all the information. He wants it in a personalized way, and he wants to take the decision himself, but be given a lot of information. I think the only way to actually meet the Gen Z type of a customer and have him, get to be loyal with us is the only way is to be innovative and increase the digital platform experience, and take it to the next level. So I think last 2 years for us have actually been very good because the number of customers have come in, and it has given us a complete, opportunity to actually look at how to improvise our digital experience. I think that has been the winning game. I also think that it is time that we turn the entire business model not towards what we want to sell, but what are the different type of customers and what do they want. It is no longer like, when we talk about Gen Z customers, they no longer really want to. It's a very different, like Gen X and baby boomers. We thought that the first thing we want to do is buy a house, or the first thing that we thought is, after that we want to buy a car. It's no longer that way. The Gen Z wants to actually rent an apartment, try out different cars, rent out different cars. The whole experience has changed to exploration. It is time that if we really want to be in the winning game, and like you said, that if we want this to be the differentiator defining our success, it's time we align to their needs and give them an exemplary experience. Innovation is the only way. I mean, at digital it is, because the customer doesn't want a personal touch anymore. That's how it is. Yes, Anand.
Great, Loveena. Thanks for that. Yes, indeed. So we spoke of digitally native, and now we've added Gen Z to it in terms of the consumer and how their expectations and experience is changing and how they want more exploration, right? So I think these are very important changes and will have implications on business models. So Mayank, how are you seeing this in terms of the business model changes and how customers themselves are changing and its implications on the services part of the business?
Yeah, thanks, Anand, and thanks, everyone for the comment. Very insightful. But on JSW side, we are a large group. We have significant strengths in manufacturing and materials and commodities. And over the years, we've seen our B2B business and the manufacturers who consume our material really evolve over a period of time. At the same time, the MSMEs who kind of form the bulk of the manufacturing ecosystem in the country, they're actually not necessarily rightly served to that extent. The services, the trust, this right supply of material to them at the right time, the transparency of pricing. I think they are very fundamental service constructs which are taken for granted in the B2C world, which are lacking in the B2B world, the traditional world today. And that's where the group has decided, I'm part of a firm called JSW1. We are taking that leap from there. We're trying to create a demand side aggregation B2B business for our manufacturing MSMEs, for the construction ecosystem to reach out to them and get those services to them. Because it's not only a dire need of service, which they need, but it is also that they have been digitized in the B2C businesses and world, right? They consume on B2C. They want to see the same transformation in the B2B world, which is where their enterprises are. And that's what we are seeing and what we are trying to deliver.
Excellent. So very important to also look at the B2B customer. And thank you for those insights, Mayank. In fact, I'll stay with you now because this gives me a good leeway to enter the next section, which is on technology. We heard a lot of digital being mentioned from all of you, right? So what are some of the innovations in technology that you're making to cater to all of these changes, right? In terms of how B2B customers themselves are changing, MSMEs, how you can serve them better, and at the same time, provide a good customer experience, which helps you differentiate yourself, right? So what are some of the implications from a technology standpoint? What have been your key areas of investment?
Sure, thanks, Anand. Look, technology is the only lever, frankly, which enables businesses to penetrate and get services at the micro level. It is operationally not viable to reach that mass and provide that service at the doorstep. Today, we are delivering steel coils and sheets at the doorstep of the factory of the MSME, which he can actually purchase on a click of a button. Behind the scenes, there's a lot of hard work. You need to standardize things as well as personalize things. What I mean by that is that each MSME requires material in a certain shape, form, tolerances. It varies by the construct of the machinery they use. At the same time, there is standardization of quality, of the base grades, of the kind of brand you want to buy, and transparency of pricing and supply. I think the tech world today enables us to connect the supply chains of the manufacturing ecosystem with the requirements which can be personalized and fed into either front end by the MSMEs and match make that. It was not possible in the erstwhile world. And that's where the technology plays a very critical role. And there are so many pillars of technology which go into delivering these services. And it's not just material, it will percolate itself to services, right? It is logistics. It is about the right time, right delivery at your doorstep. It is about the branding elements which can come. It's the promise of service ultimately which gets fulfilled.
Very interesting. In fact, personalization, Loveena, was something that you also mentioned, and even in a B2B construct, Mayank is talking about how much to standardize vis-a-vis how much to customize. And therefore, what, according to you, are some of the big investments that Edelweiss has made in terms of digital and how you've used technology to innovate and provide a better customer experience?
Absolutely. So one of the things that I was telling you was, that how today the customer wants to do things himself and, he wants to come on the platform. It is very important. So I just give you a small example. We have something called our Edelweiss mobile trader. And, it's one of the highest rated apps today in the wealth management. Okay. And surprisingly, people who come to the app do not come for, trading. They come for the news that we provide. That's a big seller for us. And we realized that it is not about, when it comes to news, it is not about news being provided anymore. It is about who provides it the first, and consistency of, the information that is there. So today, if we have, over 3 lakh users who come to our platform, less than 1,70,000 are our customers. The balance come to our, Edelweiss mobile trader only to access the various options that we have. Like we give market news, we tell you what's going on, how is Dow performing, how is SGX performing. And I think these are those winning moments, which you have to invest in from a technology perspective to make the customer feel that this is where he will get the news first. I'm just giving you an example of the news. That perception takes a long time for it to happen. But now that it has been, you won't believe it, sir. We used to report the COVID numbers, okay, on our platform. And, we would take it, of course, it was a sourcing from, it was coming from a news provider. And once there was an error, in the news provider, that the number one digit was missing. And in less than 3 minutes, we had so many people reaching out to us that I think there is something wrong. And that is when we realized that something as generic as a COVID number, there was a time that we all used to track it very heavily when COVID was at its peak. So many people are looking at EMT, our mobile trading application, for it. And that is the important of the need to keep innovating. Anand, it doesn't stop at providing financial news. If I have to have Shailendra look at the EMT on a regular basis, I have to give him what he wants to be the first, for it to be personalized. If he doesn't want to look at, let us say, entertainment, then the investment that we do in our, the artificial intelligence that is there is that he's not looking at this news. He's not getting into that. Means it probably doesn't interest him. So to filter it out, because today no one, I think any customer doesn't have the time to actually just go through on what is given. It has to be relevant. So we call it very simple, sir. We call it the 3 things in which we invest. Okay, we say it has to be simple, it has to be intuitive, and it has to be relevant. We call it SIR in simple words. So, it's these 3 things. That's the winning formula. Whenever you make an investment, it has to be in these 3 things. That's how we have done things.
Very insightful, Loveena. So, sir, is something I'll take away with: simple, intuitive, and relevant. And I thought you also mentioned about moments that matter. I think in services, that's like really critical. So with that, we can go to Harpreet. Harpreet, on your side, Loveena also spoke about value-added services in a sense, right? Beyond just the core offering. So how is it that you have used technology to take care of some of these changes in the business model?
So two fronts. One is on the service side and the other is on the product offering sides, both sides, right? From an app perspective, we do also have, but unlike say a mobile user app, which is for an individual customer where I as a user can go and see my bill or see my plan and make changes. B2B, there's a lot of difference, right? The person giving the order might be different. The person paying the bill will be different. And then the person using the product will be different. So the person raising a trouble ticket, you need to give him access separately. If somebody wants to go in for more order, he should be able to also be able. So we have to have that specialization in our app. We even for data, we give usage of the products that they have so that they can track their usage, MRT, ES graphs. And if they want to increase their orders, we can give them alerts to say, you're reaching the upper bandwidth limit, you want to enhance, please. So one is on the, this is on the service side. Then with large bulk customers, right? And we have a fair amount of them. They can raise trouble tickets in our CRM directly. We've linked up with their CRM. So they don't need to call my call center. And they can track the ticket progress. They can see where it is. So this is possible with bulk customers where the volumes are high, right? And foreign carriers, even domestic, some carriers, we do it with them. On the product side, what we are doing is to say that, let's say there's a call center and big business, for almost every business runs some amount of a call center, right? So if it's not a very large setup, then they have to invest in technology, they have to invest in EPA BXs, they have to invest in dialers. So I've taken all of that into a cloud. I said all that is present. You don't invest in the hardware. You just ride on the data. And without having any investments or fixed costs, you can run a call center. We'll take care of the technology. So that's an innovation which is really doing well in the market, and where customers are seeing a value and saying that it's an operating cost model and not a fixed cost model, where I can, as per my volumes, go up and down, and I don't have any fixed cost on AMCs. And on top of it, like I said, if they need Microsoft Office, if they want internet security for I can give them that service also. So we're doing a bundling also. And for a large corporation, like, say, there's a big bank, or even say JSW, right? They'll have a procurement department which can go and do a great deal with Zoom for license fees being very low. But a small organization might not even have somebody who handles procurement. The owner might be doing the procurement himself. For them, it's an ease to say that I can get multiple products to run my office from one service provider and not go to separate and then look at AMCs and then look at renewals. And then in a combination of the products that you take, we can even give you a discount on that, right? So that's the way we are innovating and giving customers products that help them in their business and ride on the base services that we provide.
Great insights, Harpreet. Product versus services, I think, is something that will have its own complexity, and you adapted it to the needs of various different kinds of customers. We heard of personas in the Loveena mentioned that, right? And here we are talking about different kinds of B2B customers itself, along with the complexity of B2C. So very interesting insight. So Shailendra, over to you in terms of technology and what kind of innovations you've brought in using technology and digital to enhance your business model and the services operating model.
Thanks, sir. So first, thanks for all three speakers sharing that, and that's very key. Well, there is only one boss, which is client, right? And in a world where products and services are becoming more and more commoditized, client experience is the only differentiation, right? That's the only true differentiator, I would say, right? And that is why, to a point where another speaker said that we must provide service where the client is and not the vice versa. Now, this can be only happen, and technology plays a very, very critical role in that. This world is wholly connected world. Client wants everything connected. They want to use and consume services anytime, anywhere, anyhow, right? That's the way to say. And it is very important to use technology to build this accurate and efficient channel access. Only technology can do it. So we understand technology there. The use cases, I'll just talk about one use case, which is, let's say, Tour de France. I hope people are aware of Tour de France. It's an event which runs into multiple days. It runs into multiple country, and 5,000 odd kilometers. It runs through various difficult terrain, and it's all moving right in that world. And then how does technology provides the client experience viewership? It is one of the highest viewership events, sports event across the world. That's the second most after the FIFA World Cup. Here we are using technologies to get insight into, let's say, so they put all those sensors in the seat of the driver, cyclist, and then, they are moving, so we require that data. We need to also then assimilate that data. Connectivity is required. It's a very difficult terrain, right? So provide connectivity through various technologies. It is not possible. It's a very difficult terrain. Then process that data, moving data centers, using cloud. And the best part is that you put all those things and then provide them immersive experience, play around games around that, and people can view all these things live online for continuously, let's say 14 days on any device they want to do it. And not only that, put that and then close all these systems back and then wait for another year for the event to happen. Now, this is only possible through technology is over there. So great amount of technology. Unless technology is there, this viewing experience is not possible at all in Tour de France, as I said. And we are the technology partner, entity is a technology partner for Tour de France company. And thankful to this technology, which is able to increase the viewership every year for that matter. And a great examples of meeting the end client's business objective. And here the end clients are cyclists. Here the end clients are a young boy, and there is a old guy like me. Every kind of different kind of, and then of course the sporting event, making money. So technology is a great enabler, and we need to use technology to give this client experience, which is the only differentiator between in this world nowadays.
Great. I mean, exciting example always, to use a sports analogy. It really brought to life what you've been stressing. And the other interesting insight was it's not just your immediate client, it's also the end customer, right? I thought that was a very good insight that came through that example. So talking of client experiences, we've heard a lot about your clients, Pankaj, as we should, in terms of clients being paramount. Now, from a ServiceNow standpoint, how is it that you're seeing some of this change in terms of technology that you're providing?
So thank you, Anand. And first of all, thank you so much for having me in here. And actually, I was thoroughly enjoying all this awesome and august speakers, whether it is Shailendra, Harpreet, Loveena, Mayank. And I think you should have continued rather than asking me a question. I would have absolutely loved to hear that. But Loveena, to your point around the concept of Sir. Okay, this is something which is very, very amazing. Actually, I was incidentally sitting with one of your execs today morning itself. So this is, for me, it is an Edelweiss day today itself. And Shailendra, to your point, in terms of the Tour de France, amazing. It's a very amazing concept. And Harpreet, to your point around building those digital natives. Yeah, absolutely impressive. And Mayank, you spoke about how we digitize both the B2B and the B2C part of it, and providing those personalized experience. As a platform company, the one thing that we strongly believe, and this is something that since the time our new CEO, Mr. Bill McDermott, has come in, we believe in providing a business-ready platform. And I think that's something which is common to all the amazing points that you all have mentioned. And that is something that we have been consistently doing for all our customers across the globe and here in India also. And I'd like to state 3 examples quickly. And I think the first big example is Starbucks. When we talk about Starbucks, the first thing that we come is we're just going into Starbucks, taking a cup of coffee, and possibly either sitting there or working out. But it is not just it is not just coffee. Coffee is for Starbucks. It is the first pillar of Starbucks growth is providing customer experience. So they are not just providing coffee. Yes, they are. But then today they are competing with the likes of WeWorks and CoWorks and a lot of business centers, because people come, sit there, operate, do their business, sitting over there. And especially in the pandemic times, it was important for Starbucks to retain that, customer mindshare. And, they face that, our 70% of the issues are repetitive. We know what is the solution, but they are still repetitive. The customers, they want to reinstate their information, and all the informations are actually having equal priority. So here is where we at ServiceNow provided that business-ready platform in terms of to Starbucks. And this is something which is consistent across the globe. One is that omni-channel experience for all the customers and even the employees. And basically, when there was a point around providing the Gen Z part of it, I guess Loveena mentioned around it. This is Gen Z. They want to be absolutely on their own. So nothing better than providing that self-service experience and that omni-channel experience. That is something that we have done for Starbucks. The second example is Amazon Go. I think amazing concept. And this is a beautiful use case of co-creation during the COVID times, wherein the social distancing became a norm. And if, as a consumer, I walk into any Amazon Go store, that social distancing is taken care of. Even at the point of checking out in terms of the billing, the technology that we have provided to Amazon Go is basically, I have absolutely no touch billing experience. I just walk out with my merchandise. And I actually, the moment as I'm walking out, I actually get billed. So there's a whole lot of co-creation that has happened over the last 2 years. Working with Amazon Go, and one more interesting case is with Walmart. With Walmart, again in the COVID times, naturally that social distancing and everything had to be followed. All the consumer had to do was basically drive into Walmart in a specific designated area, either in the parking lot or somewhere, order for their goods, groceries, whatever it is, gets delivered to their parking lot, their particular defined space. They walk out with again the same experience, and if they want to return the goods, no questions asked, absolutely no question art service. So all these three, amazing use cases, like the Starbucks, Amazon Go, Walmart, I think they are transforming the way commerce is happening across the globe. And I think we have been very, very privileged to have been working with such companies. Back to you, Anand.
Thanks, Pankaj. Very insightful examples. So with that, we've got both the technology provider view along with all the client stories. We'll move to the next section. A lot of y'all have spoken about this in terms of driving adoption, being really critical for usage. So Shailendra, we'll start with you in terms of how is it that you've empowered people, right? Because people are at the center of everything, and services, there's always a people angle to it. So what are some of the innovations around that in terms of empowering people, and any mindset changes that are required, right? Examples that you have in terms of how mindset needs to change for enabling a lot of this innovation to provide better service to customers.
Absolutely. And as I said, building a good client experience does not happen by accident, right? It happens by design, and it is a mindset. You must have noticed I'm using the term client and not customer. And again, I'll say I'm using a term client and not customer. It's a small thing, but for me, customer means a transactional relationship, like when I buy any product and services from a shop. Whereas client means a very long-lasting, fruitful relationship. Again, it's a small thing, but it reflects the right mindset. So that's very, very important in our services industry to have the right mindset. And you talked about people. The second important thing is that if we consistently exceed the expectation of our employees, in turn, they will consistently exceed the expectation of our clients. We can create client satisfaction only through a satisfied employee. And for that, of course, we need to, again, as I said, we need to invest in our provide them technology. We need to provide them skills. We need to provide them processes, right? Skill is the only currency, right, which client pays for. That's the only currency. So it is required that our employees, we need to skill on that, and that's and I'll tell, in our organizations, skill is the number one priority. That's the number one imperative we have. We provide them because a confident employee will be able to do a confident client satisfaction. Second, of course, the processes side of it. How do we simplify the processes? How to give them technology like investment in terms of analytics, AI-driven system, and so that they will be able to provide and attend to effective support to, let's say, high value of client queries. So that's another aspect of it. And finally, you said employees are at the center of everything and everything on that. And in our company entity, we have a philosophy, and I said client is at the center. At the same time, our philosophy is, and we run a program called Our People First. Our people first. Now, some people say client is first. Of course, I'm saying client at the center, but our philosophy is that our people first. And for that, empowerment is very important in terms of providing them platform, provide them technologies that makes their life easy, invest in them, that make them confident, and simplified processes. And with this, as I said, we can repeat the things that we can create client satisfaction only through a satisfied and empowered employee. That's my take on empowerment.
Yeah, putting employees first. So thanks for that, Shailendra. So Loveena, what are your thoughts on the people side of services, right? What are some of the key changes that you've made to make this more effective in terms of delivery on the ground?
Correct. Adding on to what Shailendra said, that that our people first, and like they say, if you want to take care of your customers, take care of your employees. That's where it all begins. Coming to and I have noted down the difference between client and customer. Shailendra, that was very insightful. I'm going to use it in my next this quoting you, of course, giving you the credit. Somehow client always sounded better than customer, but I didn't know this logic to it, so thanks for that. Coming back, so I think empowering people is also giving you very tactful example, is that we have a huge call center, okay? And in the wealth management business, markets move sometimes not to your in the way that you expect them to. Sometimes there are huge losses that our customers that our clients have. But when these clients call us, okay, and if there is something that the employee can immediately offer to him, as an instant gratification, the frustration that the client is facing can come down. So for example, okay, if we have a client calling in, our call center employees are empowered depending on their seniority and the client's vintage in the system to offer something as a goodwill gesture. So I'm not saying that I'm a client who's calling and saying that I've had a loss on this, so, and but if there is a frustration that he has about a particular thing, that if this was it and this is what I had invested in and this is what I had done, and if the call center agent, so we do analyze and we do keep things with ourselves on the client interest. If we can take the conversation towards, like, we have 5 things that we've captured on a customer. So let's say your hobby is, let's say, fitness, your hobby is knowledge, your hobby is giving back to the society. You take the conversation towards that. I know that you've been into your, one of your hobbies is that you're a marathon runner, and we have this event coming. Why don't we as Edelweiss give you an entry into this, and you could probably be a part. We have our own marathon once in a year. So if you're able to empower the call center agent who's facing a very irate customer, okay, then we'll be able to actually take the conversation to converting him into being a loyalist to the organization. This was a very tactful example. Another such example is that a very if a client comes back and puts in a complaint till a particular level of this, we do not get into the what, where, and why. We feel that he's our client, and till a particular, he's got high vintage. If he's coming with something, then let us go ahead and just give him that as a credit in his ledger. It's as simple as that. And thirdly, I think, though we've not been able to do this, I think we've been having a lot of conversation. Like, what I think is that Uber, I'm a big fan of Uber. Uber empowers its employees by even telling them what is the client rating. Okay. So if Loveena Khatwani is a client of Uber, if you go back and you see in your profile, I am rated as a particular thing. So it's not only the rating that you are giving to the driver, it's also, I think that is real empowerment. Okay, so you are going and you're telling the employee what you are handling with the customer. Even the customer has a rating. So next time, there will be alignment of a highly rated driver to a highly rated customer, because that's how it should be. I think that is ultimate empowerment. It's going to be a while in our business to get that in. But yes, we do look at This is what, if you are not the only person who's going to be getting rated, it is even a client. I think that's what is going to be coming in. Right.
Thanks,
Over to you.
Loveena. I mean, those examples were really good. Service recovery is an opportunity. And I thought that example in terms of how we use it to build a better connect with the customer is what services is all about. And therefore, also the last thing in terms of empowering your own people, not just looking at customer rating, right? So excellent example. So Harpreet, anything from your side in terms of people, and what are some of the key aspects we've got to look at when it comes to empowering people for better customer experience?
So from the people only, so first at the organization level itself, right? Where does customer service sit? That is also an empowerment act in itself, right? Is it, as in some cases it is, and mostly in anything that's growing fast, it's under business. Business calls the shots, and sometimes the customer gets short shifted, because when the business is booming, I think the effort is only about how to get more customers on board. I think it's in mature markets and segments where service becomes a differentiator, and then they say service needs to be pulled out as a separate lever, and then it reports to the CEO or MD, and that's where the empowerment starts from, right? Till that doesn't happen, you are still playing catch up. So as an organization, you have to evaluate where does, like if you take the telecom boom in India, for a long time, telecom was, everything in telecom was under business. Business called the shots because the numbers was low. Now that it has stopped growing so fast, you're seeing a differentiator, at least in the mobile services, at least the higher paying customers are treated differently, while the masses are still not, right? But that's because the market is getting mature. So empowerment starts from how much, do you see customer service as a cost center or a value center? So as long as you see it as a cost center, you can do whatever you want with the front line, but you won't put the money where your mouth is, right? If you start looking at it as a value center, and of course it's not just about touchy feely, that you have to see how does that value translate into repeat business, how does it lead to customers staying longer. So you have to have some very defined outcomes linked to say that if I'm going to invest in this, in better systems, better people, better resources, and give them more power, then what are the measurable returns? So, but like I said, that once that journey starts, that you look at this as a value center, that's where the empowerment starts. That's where the thinking changes. That's when you stop second guessing everybody who passes a waiver and say it needs 4 lengths of approval. You start saying it's not worth it. For 50 rupees, let the person taking the call, take a call, and you do not need, I don't think there'll be much misuse of it. So I think we as an organization, I can see the changes in that, at least in our organization, since we do not anymore have a mobility hangover, the B2B segment that we serve, we give a lot of empowerment to the front line. We give a lot, but that starts from the top. And that's where it helps from, when the management puts its effort behind you. And the ask is for world-class service. And then if it needs to be paid for, so be it. So that, but like I said, the buy-in has to be from the top, and then the rest of the things follow.
Very critical input, Harpreet. Where do we house customer service? I think that's a very important question that needs to be answered. And how do you measure it, and what are the outcomes, right? So with that, we will move to our last section. So Mayank, over to you in terms of customer service as a differentiator. How is it that you view customer service as a differentiator for amplifying your brand?
Yeah, thanks, Anand, and thanks all the speakers. I think there are so many good points made even on this point, but really as the hosts and speakers are mentioning, customer service is potentially the only differentiator if it's a crowded market. Even otherwise, the demand for customer service is so high that it can actually define a brand, especially if you are in services. And service actually means very different to different businesses. For our business, the right supplier at the right time at the right price. There's so much of opacity. There's so much of challenges in this business that that is itself value. And this business has a long way to go in terms of delivering the raw materials to the doorstep of the MSMEs. But that being said, customer service expectation and delivery is actually a process. I kind of give in to Shailendra completely there. It's not, there are volume businesses and then there are value businesses. And in wealth management, Loveena, if you have your top 20 clients, they're complete personal touch, right? There is no, it is a personalized service. But if we are in the game of serving the masses, there is process, there is madness and process behind the madness, and that is very, very critical to deliver service. It is a significant brand differentiator. People in India now are ready to pay for that. I think it was a long time when advice and service was supposed to be free, in India, and that culture has changed. It has turned, and you can create a brand, and you can demand a premium for the service.
Yes, indeed. So, tell us about it in terms of people paying for advice. But I thought the reliability aspect was very, very critical. Loveena touched upon empathy in her previous example. So what are some of these differentiators, Shailendra? How can we use customer service as a differentiator for the brand?
See, as they say, why it is required, if you do not take care of your clients, your competitors will, right? That's they say. And my take is that at the same time, instead of focusing on the competition or competitors, one must focus on our clients. Every client interaction counts, even the small ones. They are all relevant, right? Because they help build our client references, our client loyalty, right? And so these are very, very important things we need to be remembered. Also, in a world where product and services are becoming more and more commoditized, client experience is the only true differentiation. In our industry, which is the service industry, only references sales. If you have a reference, then only you can make a service sale. Do you have a reference? Have you done it before, right? That's the point I'm talking about. So building a references in client experience is absolutely clear. What we need to do for that, what we are doing from in our company point of view to a true value differentiator services, we are moving our services from commodity to customization, right? And that way, if I see, x axis, let's say on a y axis side, we are moving from technical services to the business services to give a business outcome, right? We are ready to come out with models where we are saying that we will provide the solutions to you, and we are ready to take our compensation on realization of your business outcome. So this helps build brand and differentiation for entity, or for that matter, any company, and client experience and services business in particular are being used. I'm absolutely in agreement with people that people are changing, they're paying for it, they understand the differentiation about it. So I absolutely agree with the speaker. And so that my would be that if you want to differentiate, if you want to use services, we have to do it because in our industry, only references sales, nothing else.
Right. So, am I audible? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Yes, great. Thank you. So with that, we'll also move to Harpreet now. What are some of, how can customer service be used as a differentiator?
I think almost everybody today, at least for their premium clients, is doing it, right? I think wherever the top value customers are there, everybody is doing it, and whichever business is in the mature market. So the difference, I think, is in how to take it down to the large volume. So your top 20% customers, almost everywhere, you are giving them a different service, right? Like Pankaj was mentioning, Loveena must be her top 20 clients, personal service. So everybody does that. I think we are in the midst, and at least our industry and a lot of the industries that have boomed in the last couple of decades in our country, of moving to the next level, which is the middle mass, which can grow into your equal volumes. But I think the ones that get the short shrift are the lower end of the market. They still do not get the required support yet, which can, because they are low margin and sometimes are not even giving you enough So some places that is a segment which is underserved. So whoever can in each of their verticals serve them better using technology, making it cost effective, I think we'll have a winning. Everybody's trying. It's not that they're not, but currently for a large customer, at least the dependability of your service is very important, right? So he will, like they said, is willing to pay a premium for it. The large customer knows that, and that's why they get treated a bit differently. Also, they are willing to pay for the service edge that you give. So there are some brands that are not known for necessarily quality of service, but are known as volume providers. They don't necessarily get the same traction with these. They might get the mass market, but they will not get the premium market. So for the premium customer, definitely it's without this you can't survive. And then the premium customer is typically giving you 60-70% of your revenue. So without that, you anyways don't have the edge. So there, everybody understands it and is doing it. And there it is, staying in touch with them. What is their needs and evolving your response to their. You cannot stand still. Last year's performance is not good. You have to be in constant touch with them. Their needs evolve, their wants evolve, and what was excellent 2 years ago is no longer excellent. So there you have to really keep engaging with them. And the idea is, how do you take it to it's like, your Formula One cars. What was innovative is now in your normal car, right? 5 years ago, it was, that Triptronics that you can change gears with a button on their. Now there are models of cars that you can buy also that have that. Right? Similarly, what was a premium offering 2 years ago, 3 years ago is no longer a premium offering, and it trickles down to the rest also. It's not that it doesn't. But if you don't do that, I mean, there are others who will do it, and like Shailendra said, then the competition will take you out. So you have to first, take your 80% of the 70% of the revenue, which is your top customers, and what you learn from them, give it to the mid segment and then to the small segment. And you have to use technology to be able to do it. Otherwise, for the premium customer, you can give a very well-educated, technically competent resource. For the lower end, you have to say, how can I give them the same experience, or maybe on chat, using chatbots or maybe on live agents. But you will have to be able to give them that service. Otherwise, somebody else will. Without that, you will lose the business.
Great. So premium customers and constant need to adapt. Loveena, we'll end with you in this section in terms of how customer service has been used by you to differentiate Edelweiss as a brand.
And Harpreet said it all honestly. In our business, keeping a customer, keeping a client with us is actually a very big challenge, in the sense that today there are n number of wealth advisors. Okay, there are n number of transaction charges, and there is a limitation to the transaction charge. How much can you reduce to retain? Actually, the only winning streak is, also there is so much information that is available, that giving the right advice to the premium customers is also become now hygiene. But I think the only big differentiator today is the type of service that we are giving. Like we have adapted very much, like the banking industry has, is that once you're a wealth client, then you will have a personal priority service manager. This person will be available for you for any type of service. However, it does not stop there. You cannot just leave it. I think it's like you have to go from A to B to C to D. This today's top customer, we call it in our terms a priority customer. We call them that, our top customers. A priority customer doesn't want to go to a wealth advisor only for his wealth. Okay, he wants to do a plethora of things. To give you an example, in COVID times, there was a lot of need from our from our top customers, that there was a need that how do we do inheritance planning. How is it that since there was so much of chaos all around, how is it the need for insurance, of course, was there, but we saw a lot of need of customers coming and telling us that I have not updated my will, and or there is some amount of inheritance that I had, and what is the way forward, how do I do it? And that is when we came across for a priority customer, providing services is extremely important. So let us say that, for example, Mayank comes to me and tells me that, Loveena, I'm his wealth advisor, that I need 1 lakh. I want to do a vacation to ABC. I could just tell him, sure, I will liquidate your stocks and I'll give you. But I could go the extra mile as a service manager that, so Mayank, where is it that you're traveling? Would you like us to give you some type of service? Would you like us to connect you to somebody who will, work out your travel arrangements? Or, over there, we have ABC office. So, would you like to, can I get you connected to them? This type of non-transaction conversation, I think, is going to be a key differentiator. So what I'm trying to tell you, Anand, in simple words, is that service is of course the differentiator, but today we have to go beyond it, and we call it non-transaction conversation. I don't want to talk to you only about your transactions. I don't want to talk to you only about your wealth. I want to talk to you about what else you're interested in. That is the only reason where Mayank, as my priority customer, will come back to me, because he'll say, Arey, Loveena knew about ABC. Let me take her opinion. She's already helping me with my wealth. And that is where I'm sure Mayank will not leave Edelweiss and go away. Mayank, now you have to become an Edelweiss customer, please.
No, I'm sorry.
So thanks for that, Loveena. Thanks, Mayank, too. Thanks for the entire panel. I think that's a great place to end. Think beyond the transaction. Take a longer term view of your client, right? I think that is a good note to end. I thoroughly enjoyed the discussion. Thank you for being such a wonderful panel.
Thanks, Anand. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thanks from all of us. Your summarizing was exemplary.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Thanks.
Well, thank you so very much to Anand and all our panelists taking us through such an enlightening session. What I really loved the most about the entire session is the key aspects that most of our viewers have taken back from the last 60 minutes. Thank you, panelists. I'm sure the service providing industry keeps growing and the ideas keeps coming in. After all, it only starts with an idea. Thank you everyone for joining us here, powered by ServiceNow. We look forward to seeing you much more. After all, roundtable sessions are a 360-degree perception that you draw and you achieve or gain from every roundtable with Economic Times. My name is Bhinder Upadhyay. Until then, take care, stay safe, and keep servicing creatively. Thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you, gentlemen. Have a good one.
Thank you.